And we'll move on. For approval of the minutes for March 12th, 2015, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes of March 12th, 2015.
Second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to reports. DPW report, Supervisor Durr.
I put at your positions similar report to previous months. Just in quick summary, this is for the month of February. Spent 112 hours performing snow plowing activities, about 21 hours working on vehicles, 5 hours working on roads and signs, some tree trimming, some mailbox repair, and some work for the election.
Any questions for Supervisor Durr? Thank you. And on to well monitoring, Supervisor Fisher.
Yeah, just a quick update. The well monitoring program first round or first battery of monitoring levels is in progress, should be completed within the week. And as soon as that is received, I will make that available to the entire board.
Thank you. Any questions for Supervisor Fisher? And we can move on to new business. Discussion and possible action on the following. The independent inspection contract. They have been working with us basically on a month-to-month basis for the last year and a half. Longer?
2011.
11, okay. We have Tom DeLacy from Independent Inspections here, and perhaps you could point out some of the substantial changes in your contract.
Yes, the substantial changes we're looking at is that we're including all code enforcement related to building code issues or zoning code issues at no charge to the town. What we did is we took a look at the surrounding communities, to look at what they're doing for their fees, increase the fees, and basically we'll cover our costs that way. So we'll give the town that guarantee. And whatever comes up, we'll take care of it at no cost. Some of the other items in there, we did prepare a fee comparison across the board. We're still in line with Vernon, Town of Guanago, etc. I do want to note that many years ago, the town board increased the building permit fee for new homes in the town to match what the city of Waukesha was at that time. And they'd upped it. And what happens there, everywhere else we're on an 80-20 split. But on that one, the difference between currently is 14 cents. It's split is based on the fee is 25 cents. The additional 11 cents all goes to the town. The town board did that many years ago to help pay for code enforcement. That was the way that they were budgeting for it. So I put it in there just as a comparison. The city is still at 24 cents, but New Brunswick's at 33, City of Spiegel's at 30. So you've got some area there if you want to take a look at additional items. Again, anything you do in that sense would all be money to go back to the town to help with any other related construction related costs or planning related cost. So other than that, we've worked with Attorney Macy. We have included all of his additional changes he asked for. And those are, we sent over a draft that's in yellow. And then on paragraph 11, I put in there in red, so you can see that everything was at no charge. And that's about it. Is there any questions I can answer?
Anybody have questions for Mr. DeLacy? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the agreement for services with independent inspectors for inspection services in the town.
Second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. And 7B, jurisdictional transfer agreement for Sunset Drive. I saw Mr. Day here a little earlier. Are you still here? Come on up and tell us what you guys are looking for.
Good evening, thank you. on your desk, you should have a packet that has kind of a simple jurisdictional transfer agreement. And on the back would be a display aerial view of the area that is under discussion. It's an odd-shaped piece of right-of-way there, and to start, I guess the purpose for the discussion is that the city is proposing to improve Sunset through this area from an existing 2-lane to a 4-lane roadway. Sure, thank you. We have not entered into a contract for design yet. It's kind of conceptual. We're looking at certainly in the area of Sunset View. Feel that it's important that we're not going to change access for the residents there. There will not be raised medians that cause right in, right out type of situations. The diagram does show kind of a median cross-hatched. That would either be a painted and or possibly a slightly raised rumble type strip, but that would be part of the design, providing access to those properties. The odd-shaped right-of-way, as we went back looking at records, it's kind of a holdover from what was old County Highway A. And when they reconstructed Highway 59 Sunset Drive to the bypass, left that kind of remnant areas. With the agreement itself, we're transferring just basically the responsibility for construction, for maintenance in the future. That would become the city's responsibility in this area with regard to snow removal, ice control, that type of thing. Road, certainly, maintenance in the future. There's no change to but it's not being annexed or anything like that. There isn't any change to ownership, just the basically transfer responsibility. City believes that is probably the most efficient way in this particular area to kind of maintain the roadway and the improvements.
Mr. Day, in the alternative, the board does not choose to transfer jurisdiction to the city. What would our alternatives be? We would negotiate perhaps with the developer. Are they improving the road, or are you improving the road at this time?
In this particular area, it will be kind of a combination developer and city. We will be bidding the project as it stands right now.
Okay. And so you're participating in the cost to improve the road?
Correct, there is,
okay.
Yes.
Or we could not transfer jurisdiction and leave it as a 4-lane road coming into 2 lanes in the town and back into 4 lanes on the way out.
That's one possibility, yes.
It would seem to me that would create quite a bottleneck for town residents that live in that area as well as anybody else traveling on the road.
It was a similar situation very early in my career, just on the West Sunset Drive, where that situation had occurred, where Sunset was improved, throttled down to 2-lane and then back out, and through cooperative agreements there that was improved through the town's portion as well. So as history ended, it is efficient way to work together.
Questions for Mr. Day?
What is the current right of way?
The entire highlighted area is deemed right of way.
So the current right of way is on the south side of the street, the blue line? Please. Okay,
Yes.
so that's the current right of way? I have it here somewhere, that's fine. So, we'll take notes on it.
So there is no right-of-way acquisition involved, is that correct?
That's correct.
I guess Mr. Chairman, I have a comment. When this did come before us a number of months previously, I raised an issue or concern about whether it wouldn't be a good opportunity to discuss with the city, with intergovernmental cooperation and agreement to extend sewer and water sometime in the future to residents in the immediate proximity of this area without requiring annexation to the city. My position on that hasn't changed. I think that's a discussion that should be had.
Is that anything that you can speak to this evening?
Nothing that I could comment on. I would just kind of looking at the area. I haven't looked closely, but the Meyer development itself, Tanny future development, is being served by sewer from the south. And so it would seem that would be appropriate in some manner, having the sewer would serve this area from the south, not the Sunset right away.
So just a few comments to the people who are here for this topic this evening. I think some of the people in the room are under the impression that we're notified or we're in participation of or we're in cooperation of the Meyer development. And frankly, as far as I know, as a town board member for a year, we are not. That is city property. It has been city property for quite some time. I don't know how long. There was a recent annexation in the area, but I believe that the property that the Meyer building is going on has been city property for quite some time. So the town board in no way has participated or been informed or asked to coordinate, and frankly, nor would we. It would be no different than if we would want the city to come here and tell us how we want to develop, say, the property over on 59 and Sunset. So we have not participated in that conversation, nor were we asked to. As it pertains to this road, the issue of the traffic is going to come no matter what. Whether we choose to keep this jurisdiction and develop it ourselves, or keep this jurisdiction and get the developer of the Meyer property to develop it for us, that's certainly an option, not guaranteed, but an option. Or we transfer it to the city. None of that has anything to do with the fact that this traffic is going to come. People are going to want to go to the Meyer store. Do we need a Meyer store? Should a Meyer store be there? Do they pay well? None of those issues are all behind us. The Meyer store is going to be there. So the question for the town board, I think, is how do we best deal with the traffic that's coming? And those are the things we need to consider. I'm not sure that I've made up my mind yet. And there's issues of sewer and water. We should look into those issues. Those are legitimate concerns. But there's no way that anything's going to happen in this town board that's going to keep that traffic from coming. And so that's what I think we need to address.
Mr. Day, do you know how long that property that the Meyer store is going to be built on has been in the city? How long ago it got annexed about?
I was thinking that it was in recent history, 2-3 years maybe.
Yeah, it was around 2 years ago. I do remember the whole controversy with the city. But it was approved. You're correct, Supervisor Dare. It is going to happen. Now it's a matter of dealing with that small section there. Of, do you want to go from a 4-lane to a 2-lane to a 4-lane? I don't think so, but that's what we need to work out. Is the best avenue to turn over jurisdiction? I'm not sure I can vote on that yet either.
So what's the pleasure of the board? Would you like to table for future discussion?
Well, before I make that motion, because then we're done talking about it, I certainly want some kind of input from our engineer to talk about what issues lie ahead for the residents on Sunset View and the residents on Sunset South.
Fair enough.
So with that, I'll make a motion that we table this issue.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Day.
Thank you.
On to 8, discuss and possible action on the following: Waukesha Town Hall current on-site septic system. And progress. Progress is we've begun. We are moving forward. They expect to finish in the next week and a half, depending on weather and a little bit of a slowdown for the election. Ma'am, you can have a seat.
No, I'm not yet.
No, ma'am. On the agenda is a review for the on-site septic system, and the ordinance says it's at the chairman's discretion whether or not somebody's going to speak. Have a seat.
Why are you keeping me from speaking?
Ma'am, have a seat.
Why are you keeping me from speaking?
Oh, shit.
Call the sheriff, is that what you said?
I'd just like to make a point of order, please. As some of you know, I've attended town board meetings for a good portion of my residence. I've been on the board for just a year now. Attended meetings for the bulk of my 15 years here. And one of the things that I learned early on that I didn't understand at first was that this is a meeting of the town board. And it's not a participatory meeting of the electorate. I didn't understand that at first, but that's what it is. So this is a public meeting for the electorate to view what goes on in the administration of your government. It's not an open forum for people to participate in a meeting. The time for that is during citizen comments, and the time for that is for you to contact your elected representatives, which is each one of us on this board. We don't have districts, so each one of us represents you in full. And for those of you who have concerns about notification and what's going on Sunset, what's going on in Big Bend and all that, we all have our telephone numbers listed. We all have email addresses. I encourage you to write us and contact us directly. Because sometimes we're not aware of the issues that are of your concern. So if you have those issues, but this is not a public meeting for anyone to speak at any time. It's a closed meeting of the town board that's open to the public, but not for your participation. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Excuse me.
And for
That is not totally true.
And for somebody who's been a past chairman of this board who ran that meeting in that exact fashion.
I did not. Anyone who requested it on the agenda was always on the agenda. This is a site for the public.
And I'll have to comment on that also. All the times I've been coming to the board meetings, if a citizen put something on the agenda, the citizen was allowed to speak.
I would like to add also that I think you should be able to allow 6 minutes at the minimum in order to get your point across whenever you're trying to speak. And that has to be too much, Mr. Chairman.
The 3-minute rule was set by the board, and the board agreed on it, and that is the rule that's the policy that's been set. And it's not the issue on the agenda, I apologize, I cannot discuss it because it would be going off the agenda, we're not allowed to do that. We can have that discussion, if you choose to contact me, please do.
Not all of it, 6 minutes, but
Sir,
no way you can get a point across in 3 minutes. I think you realize that as a town chairman, that you wouldn't yourself put anything across in 3 minutes that you really want to put across to the people. We're your employees, you're the employer. You should be willing to.
I work for you. All right, point of order, we're gonna move on. Is any questions regarding from the board regarding the septic?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Please.
I asked for some documents before they started. And as far as I know, Urban Vision 2 is the installer of the sewer. And as far as I know, that company no longer exists. And then I asked for a certificate of insurance, and I get a certificate of insurance from another company that's not even listed as the installer. How can you let a company install your product with somebody else's insurance? Who's gonna pay if something goes wrong?
I can answer that. The original bidder has merged with another company, Main Street Holdings. Main Street Holdings is the merged company, and they are performing the work, and that's who the insurance policy is with. Companies big and small merge all the time. I believe I read today.
Okay, so we didn't need to get an updated name on our contract?
May I finish? Crafted Heights, I believe I read today, merged. We have, the contract is between the merged company and the town of Waukesha. Does that answer the question sufficiently?
No, what was that last statement you
Does
said?
that answer the question sufficiently?
Before that, about the merged contract.
The company that merged with Urban Visions is now the contract holder. When companies merge, the contracts don't go null and void. Contracts are still enforced. What other documentation are you looking for, Supervisor Wolf?
Well, for the other thing, how does a community allow a contractor to work without a bond?
Well, we accepted the contract, and the board voted and accepted the contract since it was a small dollar amount, $25,000 or less. And we're not making any progress payments, we're only gonna pay that payment once the project is finished, inspected, and done.
So just because of that, because we're a municipality, don't require a bond?
In this instance, we did not, we accepted the contract without a bond because it's a small dollar amount, and we're not going to pay any progress payments. We're only going to pay after the project is finished, inspected, and completed.
Well, I don't recall ever seeing any paperwork waiving a bond.
It was in the contract.
Yeah, and like I said, I never saw any paperwork that said we were waiving a bond.
It was in the contract. So if you saw the
Then
contract,
I guess I didn't see the contract, if I never saw a paper with the waived bond.
I don't know that you did or didn't, I can't tell you what you did or didn't review.
Okay.
What other questions?
No?
That was the only documents we had?
The two I wanted.
Okay. Any other questions regarding this? Then we can move on. Accounts payable. We have bills in the amount of $30,793.87. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $30,793.87.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we have a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah.